Crypto and digital assets today already have impressive volumes, but if you compare what's happening in crypto, with a 3 trillion market cap to the total volume of outstanding assets in the $300 trillion range, or the annual payments volume of $2 quadrillion, it's a drop in the ocean.
Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another CYPRX video banger. In today's video, we're going to be delivering you guys another accurate XRP analysis update combined with an insightful perspective from some high-end representatives at the DTCC, painting a very clear picture on how early we are in this digital asset landscape in terms of the adoption curve. With that being said, hopefully you guys have enjoyed these updates in terms of our XRP technical analysis. And if you guys have been paying attention, you all can now see how accurate we are. XRP just hit $2.57, and level that we have been calling out way back on July 7th at the beginning of this week, always delivering you guys real insights, real accurate analysis. And I want to get to that in the second portion of today's video breakdown. But before we do that, I want to make sure that the landscape is clear and that you guys really truly understand how early we are in terms of this adoption curve. So we'll cover that first. We're going to take a second, listen to some panel discussions via some high-end representatives in the industry that have hardly any views. And we're going to listen to what they say about how much money is really about to come on chain. So that way you guys have a clear understanding of how early we are. Now, I know that people hate hearing the terminology, we are early, but you really need to understand how much money is about to come on chain once the institutions get the firm green light and written legal clarity to really onboard into the space. And they are participating, they are engaged, and they are interested in adopting digital assets. You do not want to miss out on this wealth transformation because you were misled to believe that crypto is some scam. Right? So I want to make sure that that landscape is clear for our viewers here at CYPRX. If you guys enjoy these insightful video breakdowns, the accurate analysis that we deliver to you guys time and time again, do us a favor, smash that thumbs up button and make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube. So starting here at CoinGecko. According to CoinGecko, the global cryptocurrency market cap today is hovering at about $3.68 trillion. Depending on what platform you're looking at, that number could vary, but this is, again, according to CoinGecko. Take a second and listen to this industry-leading expert sitting on stage at a March 26, 2025 event, crypto asset conference hosted by some of the largest organizations in the game, including BitGo, Signum, Bitpanda, Ledger, Frankfurt School of Finance, Kraken. You guys can see some of the names down there, and listen to what this gentleman says about how $3 trillion, which is where we're currently hovering at in the digital asset landscape, is a tiny drop in the ocean of the total financial markets. Take a second here and listen.
So privacy and security are used sort of back to back here, in part because I think they are both prerequisites really for digital assets at scale. What do we mean by at scale? It's really, as Clarice already pointed out, about the institutional scale, right? Crypto and digital assets today already have impressive volumes, but if you compare what's happening in crypto, with a 3 trillion market cap to the total volume of outstanding assets in the $300 trillion range, or the annual payments volume of $2 quadrillion, it's a drop in the ocean, right? So to do digital assets,
as you heard that gentleman mention, $3 trillion is nothing to get excited about. It is a tiny drop in the ocean. Now, I get the euphoria starts to kick in, the FOMO starts to kick in as prices start to go up, but understanding the fundamental landscape and the environment that we currently operate in, which is a trading environment where the vast majority of the volumes and trading activity in crypto is due to that exactly trading activity, you'll understand that right now it's the moment to be paying attention and to take advantage of these opportunities by really truly understanding the markets in which you involve yourselves with. Heading over here, I'll play actually two more video clips, This individual gentleman here, his name for the second escapes my mind, but he is somebody very important from the DTCC. Excuse me for not knowing. I'll put the little caption up there on who this gentleman is. This video is from 7 days ago, has 351 views. And I want you guys to listen to two clips to what he says that go hand in hand with what that gentleman just mentioned and how $3 trillion is a drop in the ocean. Listen to how much money the DTCC recently has openly stated that they want to bring on chain. Take a second here and listen.
But first, a few words about this venue. This is unbelievable. What a great view. What a great audience. This is really going on. I must say I've been in this industry for 10 years. Nothing like this. Really, we are at that tipping point where every institution is now digging in, rushing in headlong into the tokenization space, and we do have the right regulatory environment. So, perfect timing. We just did.
Again, think about all the assets around DTCC, and we'll talk about it in a minute. So that's number one.
Yeah, let me stop you there. So that's the conversion order is one of those substantial underpinnings. So this is what DTCC is up to right now after the experiment. We want to make it possible for parties to receive on qualified public and private blockchains any asset that's in DTCC's inventory. So that's all roughly $90 trillion worth of our assets. We're racing to actually bring that to production. We expect it much sooner than any of you think, so that when you want to engage in transactions like these, you can.
So I'm going to pause it right there. I want to keep this video as short as possible because I do want to get into detail and the nitty gritty on XRP's price action and talk through the fundamentals with you guys thoroughly. So that way my viewers and followers understand the landscape that are not part of the private community. You guys can see some insights that we've been delivering all week that have proven extremely accurate. You guys heard it here first directly from this DTCC representative from a May 2025 event. The regulatory landscape is clear. Surprising, right? A lot of people don't understand that, but it is clearing up at a very rapid pace. Institutions are ready to engage. They are getting off of the sideline. They are engaging in crypto. They have blockchain and digital asset teams, and they are full on ready to adopt these digital assets. He also mentioned bringing $90 trillion on chain. That is huge in terms of scale, considering where we're at right now, the total cryptocurrency market cap hovering at about $3.5 to $3.6 trillion, depending on what metrics you are looking at. And so with that being said, since we're on the topic of the DTCC and talking about XRP, shout out to Genfinity for this post. The DTCC plans for digital liquidity tokens. New patent outlines integrating XRP Ledger and Stellar blockchain into interoperable asset management. Now, why is this so important? It says right here, the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation processes nearly 4 quadrillion in securities annually. To modernize the vast infrastructure, the DTCC has filed a patent titled System Methods and Storage Media for Managing Digital Liquidity Tokens in Distributed Ledger Platforms. This patent outlines a framework for tokenized liquidity across various asset classes and integrating digital assets like XRP and XLM. It complements the previously discovered DTCC patent focusing on hierarchical rights delegation. And so here is that patent, as you guys can see. And so just think about that in terms of scale, in terms of where we're at. We are so early. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that it's going to be some flip of the switch or it's going to happen overnight. It is still going to take some time, but it is going to happen most likely a lot sooner than most people are assuming. So do not lack patience. Do not lack conviction. Do your research, understand where we're at in this landscape, and really truly take advantage of these price swings. Understand the landscape when it's painting opportunities for you guys to get in at a discount to take advantage of positioning yourself with the great wealth transformation, minimizing your risk to the downside and maximizing your upside reward by understanding when to get into these markets, which is going to lead me over to this post and the XRP analysis breakdown for today's video breakdown, where I said to you guys, after Crypto Psycho or Crypto Psycho Man, shout out to you on X, what a lovely name. This is the first precise analysis of the markets that I've seen. Well done, Cypress, you're right. And this is a post going over some of the XRP analysis that we shared this past week, talking about XRP price starting when it was trading at about $2.28 is when we started to deliver the analysis to you guys. And I really want to pick that apart for you guys, because in this post I said, when people finally realize that 99% of those giving out technical analysis on social media have no credentials, no proven trading success, and rely solely on outdated, lagging retail indicators. Meanwhile, here at CYPRX, we stand apart, managing real 7-figure portfolios with mentors holding over 20 years of combined market experience, including 13 years inside institutional hedge funds and access to institutional grade dark pool analytics through our privately built software. That is when the light bulb turns on and people start to see the difference between noise and true market insights. So hopefully you guys have been paying attention. We're 9 minutes into this video. Again, if you guys are enjoying this so far, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. Now, I've already shown you guys in previous video breakdowns from high-end representatives in this space that work at large organizations mention that they move their trading algorithms based off of news events.
All of our risk models were powered primarily by quantitative signals. So we're looking at volume, price action, liquidity, depth, all these things across different markets. But oftentimes the vast majority of the time, the driver to all of this type of price action and volatility in the market is news itself. And when news breaks, now we can react to it much faster, right? So
based off of risk on, risk off environments. Okay. And a lot of people lack that understanding that most of the activity in crypto is driven by trading activity. The majority of on-chain and exchange activity is tied to buying and selling of cryptocurrencies rather than the use of crypto for payments, decentralized applications, or other non-trading purposes. And you guys can look up these statistics yourselves. Other uses of crypto, such as payments, remittances, or decentralized finance, i.e. DeFi protocols, represent a much smaller fraction of total activity. So these digital assets are not yet being utilized for their underlying utility yet. Okay, that is important yet. I'm a firm believer that in the near future, we will enter into a utility-driven environment, but we are not there yet, which is why it's so important that you guys understand the fundamentals that impact the markets now, as we are in another headline-driven cycle, where one day we could see $160 billion added to the total cryptocurrency market cap. Then Trump could come out tomorrow, tweet something out about tariffs or geopolitical tensions, and it could completely rock the market sentiment. And if you don't understand those things, you could be shaken out. You cannot understand what's going on, not know when to properly dollar cost average into these markets, and you do not want to put yourself in that type of position during this great wealth transformation. You want to be a part of a community that has insights, that has data, that has analytics, software, and information that 99% of people on the retail spectrum have non-access to. With that being said, just to show you guys how early our community had these insights provided by our institutional scalper via our software that we have built that gathers these insights from institutional algorithms, dark pools, and delta information, you can see this is a post from July 3rd. I always like to deliver timestamps. There's hardly any other influencers on the internet that deliver timestamp accurate information to show and prove that they put their money where their mouth is at. Thursday, July 3rd, in our XRP USD analysis section, our institutional scalper delivered an updated delta level sell and buy infograph. And you can see this is when XRP's price, I know that it's kind of fractal, you can't really see the numbers, but this is when XRP's price was trading at $2.28, which is exactly when I started to deliver you guys that analysis. If we come over here, this is a post that I made to you guys on July 7th, and this is not to toot our own horn. This is to show you guys that when it is accurate information, and we're not trying to sell you guys some Fibonacci price projection. We're not trying to sell you guys some moon cycle gematria analytic bullcrap that you can't take into an institutional hedge fund firm and present that information to them where they wouldn't laugh you out of the room. We're trying to show you guys these are real insights from people that are actually making money and trading in these markets. Okay. And so hopefully it's clicking for you all. July 7, 2025. I want you guys to listen. At about 16 minutes into this video, I delivered the first XRP analysis for the week. Here it is. Scenario number 2 would be where we're currently trading at now. Consolidation, fractal break in structures to the upside, a break above $2.36, and a retest. That would be a good clean signal, especially if market fundamentals support a risk on market mood to take prices to higher delta levels. So again, today, as of time of recording, it is July 10th, a few days after the July 7th analysis that I started off the week with, showing you guys a level of accuracy that again is unheard of amongst the retail crowd. Coming over here, this is a video breakdown that I gave to you guys just 16 hours ago. And I want you guys to, again, take a second and listen to the analytics that we deliver because we talk about both price action and fundamentals. And as we progress through today's video breakdown, I'm going to go over our fundamental report for today that's going to show you guys what fundamentals were supporting a risk on market tone. And if you go back and you watch some of the previous videos, you'll see some of those things that we were talking about in previous breakdowns. So here is another video breakdown, always showing you guys that we deliver these things in advance. This is titled XRP Breakout 2025 Rally is underway. Take a second and listen. At about 34 minutes and 5 seconds into this video clip, we go in to deliver another updated XRP analysis. I do notice that we tested this level 3 times where buyers were unable to make an attempt to break above. That most likely means that if we do break the $2.43 level, there is no delta until $2.57, which means that if we do break this level, we're probably going to see a nice bullish push, retesting $2.43, and then coming directly up into $2.57 to possibly $2.63 before we see any resistance or sellers try to show their hand and defend at higher prices. So for now, those are going to be our next areas of interest if the market trend currently holding weight continues. So as you guys heard right there, and then when I woke up this morning, I updated you guys with this screenshotted analysis going over thoroughly the current market landscape when I woke up this morning, delivering you guys these accurate insights. Down at the bottom, I said here, if sentiment improves and clear bullish catalysts emerge, giving buyers the conviction to break through $2.43 resistance, this could open the path toward our next upside target at $2.57 to $2.63. Again, all of this information is now July 10th. If we go over and we look at XRP's price action, I said to you guys specifically, the next area of resistance will be at $2.57. Ladies and gentlemen, please look at this accuracy. We are not trying to toot our own horn here. The softwares and the algorithms that we have access to here at CYPRX are so powerful, where now we can see that sellers started to show their hand at $2.57. And as we roll into Asia session, as of time of recording, we're starting the beginning of Asia session. So in Asia, it's Friday right now, Friday morning. Here in the United States, it's still Thursday evening. We're starting to see some profit taking and sellers showing their hand at 57 cents, right? Literally to the freaking pip, 57 cents. You cannot make this stuff up. And if you go back and you look in our Discord, just to again show you guys, this is a post, 8:30 p.m., July 3rd, Thursday, last week. Look at the deltas here. Institutional scalper highlighted $2.54 and $2.63 in this red sell area of interest, where we could first see sellers start to show their hand if the levels at $2.28 were broken that we were covering at the beginning of the week. So again, if you guys want access to these insights and you want to stop playing the guessing game and you want to stop playing this whole retail Fibonacci projection thing that's like trending on the internet right now, that is all garbage. So now fast forward. Why is the market landscape risk on? Why did we see Bitcoin rally to new all-time highs? And how did our XRP analysis that we delivered for you guys days in advance come into fruition? Why and what painted that landscape? Let's thoroughly break that down, and then we'll take a look at price action. I'll close out this video clip. I know that it's been an extensive and a long one, but hopefully you guys, again, can hear the realness in my voice, and you're like, wow, this guy is spitting facts. He's never delivered any hopium, any high-end, outrageous, unrealistic price projections. He's always delivering real good, insightful information. I think I want to tap in. Come try out our Discord for a month. Come tap in with our community for just 30 days and give it all your best effort, all the elbow grease that you think it would really take and need to digest all the information that you're going to get access to. Do that for just 30 days. And I can guarantee you that you will learn something. You will improve. You will advance in your knowledge and your awareness about these markets. All the insights that retail traders have wanted for the entirety of their involvement in these markets that most people ignore is inside our community. And you guys have direct access to that. Head over to CYPRXtrading.com. We would love to have you on the team. So this is our Thursday, July 10th report. We talked about this on Zoom call today, and I'm going to read it thoroughly through you guys so that you understand the landscape, why the markets flipped bullish today, what underlying fundamentals were tailwinds or supportive for risk assets today. Again, if you've enjoyed this video breakdown so far, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe. And then we'll take a look at the deltas. We'll talk about a possible pullback, buyers repositioning themselves at delta zones or higher levels that we could possibly see if the bullish rally continues. At time of writing, the total cryptocurrency market cap has surged by over $140 billion, as you guys can see by this screenshot. Now trading at 3.56 trillion. This is again according to TradingView. This rally follows a week of favorable macroeconomic developments that we've been tracking closely since July 7th through the 8th. Earlier on in the week, we highlighted the need for dovish signals from Fed officials and the FOMC meeting in minutes to support a continued market rally. That is exactly what we got. In yesterday's video breakdown, if you guys enjoyed that one, we went over the FOMC meeting in minutes in detail. If you guys did not watch that, go back and watch it. And we picked apart why the FOMC meeting in minutes was so bullish for risk assets. We also got comments from Fed policymakers, particularly Christopher Waller and Mary Daly. They both leaned more dovish, signaling an openness to near-term rate cuts while downplaying the inflationary impact of tariffs. I highlighted that in bold for the members because that is important. That is dovish, that is supportive of risk assets. These remarks helped alleviate market concerns about tariff-driven inflation and contributed to improved investor confidence. You guys can see those screenshots here. On top of that, the market continues to shrug off recent tariff updates, which were not perceived as deeply disruptive. With the lack of major geopolitical flare-ups and growing optimism that the worst of the tariffs effects may be behind us, risk sentiment improved across the board. These conditions created a perfect storm of bullish momentum. And you guys can again see those insights from some of the fundamentals that we gather these resources from. Notable developments. Bitcoin reached a new all-time high. When I wrote it this morning, it was at about 113,000. I think we hit 116,000 or something like that this rising. XRP remains strong, currently holding gains at around $2.50, aligning with our July 7th Zoom analysis that mapped out these key levels as key targets. Hopefully you guys watched that. You're not just watching this video for the first time, like, what the heck is this guy talking about? Go back and check those previous videos out. We dropped 2 analytical videos this week that are very insightful and painted the landscape in detail for you guys. Going over some of the comments from key Fed officials today that were tailwinds for risk assets or supportive for risk assets, we had Mary Daly, San Francisco Fed president, say that the economy is in a good place, growth and jobs are solid, and inflation is easing. Tariff impacts on inflation are not expected to be persistent. Now is the time to start thinking about adjusting interest rates. That is an extremely bullish sentence right there from a Fed official. Daly also mentioned that she sees 2 rate cuts this year as the likely path forward, which is also supportive of a risk-on market mood. Christopher Waller, Fed governor, said that he is an advocate for a July rate cut, stating that it would not be politically motivated and that tariff-related inflation would likely be short-lived. Waller is also viewed as a leading candidate to replace Fed Chair Jerome Powell in 2026, a development that, while not priced in now, could be bullish for markets that favor accommodative monetary policy stances. You can see some of those screenshots here from some of those fundamentals. Then yesterday, we also had the FOMC meeting in minutes that revealed a divided Fed, but the majority are leaning towards 1 to 2 rate cuts this year, citing temporary inflation from tariffs and cooling in the labor market. Yesterday in our Zoom, like I mentioned, we did a full detailed breakdown on why the FOMC meeting in minutes supported risk on moods. You can watch that going back on the YouTube because I uploaded that yesterday. But for our private members, I directly click the link there for them to go in and tap in. Also, we have the CME Fed Watch tool now showing a 72% probability of a rate cut in September, up from 65% prior to the meeting in minutes. A July cut remains unlikely at about 6%. The political pressure. President Trump is also turning up the heat on the Fed, calling for a 3-point rate cut on True Social. He argued that such a move would drastically reduce the cost of servicing U.S. debt, citing figures of $360 billion in savings per percentage point. On the tariff landscape update, we had Trump extend the reciprocal tariff deadline back to August 1st, pushing the initial July 9th expiration date back. We had 21 countries now receive formal tariff letters with proposed rates between 20 and 50%. So far, only China, Vietnam, and the UK have reached provisional deals. This extension adds a layer of uncertainty to global trade, which may weigh on risk sentiment in the coming weeks as we get more breaking developments, so be cautious and reactive. So what are we going to be watching going forward? Tomorrow, if you're watching this video tonight, when I release it, or before, tomorrow's New York session, this is going to be important because tomorrow we have more Fed speakers that could either reinforce or soften the current dovish narrative that is holding weight in the market. Next week brings key U.S. inflation data, which is extremely important. We have both PPI and CPI figures next week, which is a major catalyst for the Fed's next move. We must remain cautious heading into the weekend, especially with lingering geopolitical risks and headline-sensitive markets. Both the Middle East tensions and Russia-Ukraine debacle still linger. So if we see any headline risks or anything that could possibly weigh on risk sentiment, drive more demand for safe haven over the weekend, we need to be mindful of that. If we see any of these events take place, more hawkish rhetoric from tomorrow's Fed speakers, any geopolitical headwinds, any announcements that the market perceives as negative surrounding the tariff implications from Trump, the White House, or any other major jurisdictions in terms of retaliations, so on and so forth, all of those things could lead to some profit taking in risk assets and could shift back into this safe haven mode where we see gold demand pick up, we see dollar demand pick up, we see Japanese yen demand pick up. We need to understand that right now the bullish impulse is undeniable, but smart capital management and constant awareness of macro headwinds remain critical. So stay alert. Again, if you are not tracking these fundamentals and understanding the landscape in which we involve ourselves with, head over to CYPRXtrading.com, tap into our community for just 30 days. Jump into our Zoom calls, ask questions, read our fundamental reports, understand the landscape, right? So with that being said, let's do a real fast TA breakdown on XRP because right now buyers do seem to be in control. So taking a look at the deltas. Last Zoom call, we talked about XRP price when it was trading at $2.43. I mentioned that we needed to break above $2.43 in this post, retest it, and that would open the door for the next bullish targets of $2.57. That analysis has now been fully met and come into fruition. So what could happen next? Let's talk about what would break my bullish thesis or that the trend is going to continue to the upside. You can see right now, this is the 4-hour time frame, and the last interesting higher low came in at about $2.28. So for now, the A to B move that we are operating in on the lower time frames, 4-hour not necessarily being a lower time frame if you're an intraday trader, but in terms of the daily, weekly, and monthly, it is a lower time frame, is going to be from about $2.28 to $2.57. That means right now, as long as we remain above $2.28 or the most recent and last sell delta above $2.17, I could see the uptrend in XRP continuing to higher prices. So that would look or come in the form of something like this. Some profit taking at $2.57, maybe some headwinds for crypto as we have been excessively bullish this past week. That creates some type of pullback scenario for buyers to reposition themselves at discounted prices. Maybe a slight retracement back down to revisit $2.43, $2.36, or $2.28. At either of these three levels, buyers could step back in and defend. As long as we are above $2.28, I'm going to go outright and assume that buyers are going to maintain control and we are going to see higher prices come into fruition. The next bullish target intraday is going to be $2.63. That hurdle must be overcome, which is the last remaining sell delta, in order for us to see higher prices. So this would be scenario number one, a retracement slightly down into discounted positions for buyers to come back in, defend at previous prices, and push prices back to the upside. Scenario number two would just be some slight consolidation as we roll over into Asia session and the market digests any updated fundamentals in tomorrow's New York session. Buyers continuing to show their prowess, a break above $2.57 and a retest, and prices hovering at about $2.63 as we head into the weekend. If we do end up breaking $2.63 with momentum, if that scenario does come into fruition, the next delta above that does not come in for us until about $3.39. But we are going to need an excessive bullish catalyst to get there. As you guys can see that all the fundamentals in today's report were not enough to take XRP's price to those levels. With that being said, I'm going to take this level by level. The next area of interest we need to see overcome before we can even assume that the market is going to have enough momentum to reach well above $3 is $2.63 as our most immediate bullish target. If we do not see that and the mood starts to sour, meaning some of the things that I mentioned that would deteriorate market sentiment, hawkish comments from Fed speakers, geopolitical tensions and escalations in the Middle East, Russia, Ukraine, creating more demand intraday for safe havens, right? Any tariff escalations or retaliations from major jurisdictions like Japan, the EU, so on and so forth, that have a major impact on the global economic outlook, sparking fears that due to higher tariffs or retaliatory measures, we could possibly see higher inflation. Any of those things driving more demand for safe haven, weighing on risk sentiment, and we could see XRP price pull back to our first bearish target, which in this case would be $2.28. A failure to break above $2.57, buyers unable to show their hand at these $2.63 to $2.57 deltas, sellers overpowering, market sentiment souring, a pullback down into $2.28 for buyers to possibly defend is on the table. So $2.28 in a risk-off environment heading into the weekend or maybe even into next week is going to be my first bearish target. Anything below $2.28, and that is going to open the door for a full pullback and retracement of this excessive bullish move that started on June 22nd, and that could put us as low as $2.17 to $2.09 before I take a break and reassess. I don't want to go too far. We need to definitely take this level by level. We're not going to do any outrageous price projections or say that the market's going to dump down into $1.97 or $1.70, whatever. We have to overcome these levels first and see how market makers react at these specific deltas. So if we do end up breaking $2.28, that would open the door for a revisitation of $2.17 as our next immediate bearish target. So you guys now have the upside targets for XRP heading into the weekend, forward out looking into next week. Make sure that you guys are mindful. I'm going to continue to update the private community with Zoom calls on a daily and weekly basis, coupled with fundamental breakdowns. And we go into these things in detail every single day of the week in the private CYPRX community. Come tap in with us. We would love to have you in the team. With that being said, if you guys enjoyed these thorough video breakdowns this week, do me a favor, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe to the platform. Remember, we're not telling you guys that you have to come out and tap into our Discord or into our paid community where there's so much free information on the CYPRX Twitter, on the CYPRX YouTube that you guys can digest and gather insights on. It is all free. All you guys have to do is follow and subscribe. We do appreciate the love and support. As always, many blessings to you guys. Be cognizant out there. Please be aware. Be safe. Be mindful of the information and content that you're soaking up in this day and age. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video breakdown.